Hello, guys. It's my pleasure to welcome you to today's episode of My Story Life. The topic for discussion today is from student to scholar. And my guest for today is Professor Eyitayo Gad Aloh. Permit me to bring on board Professor Aloh. Hello, Prof. Are you there? It's hard. Okay, yeah. Good evening.
Good evening, everybody. Finally, we made it work.
Right. So it's my pleasure again to welcome you to today's episode of My Story Life. So this evening, we want to consider the topic from students to scholar. How has the journey been? So first of all, our guests and our viewers would like to meet you, Professor Aloh. May we know a bit about you, please?
Okay. First of all, thank you very much for having me, and thank you for accommodating my digital illiteracy. But eventually, we've gotten there. We've made it work. So a little bit about me. I was born in Nigeria some 40-something years ago, almost 50 now, right? And I am an indigen of Elisha in Osun State. I had my primary education in Ebute Metta, where I was born. So I used to joke with people that I'm Ebute Metta born, Ebute Metta bred. St. Jude's Anglican Primary School. Then I later went to Jubilee Martins and Memorial Grammar School. Many people may not know this about me, but I first of all had a degree in Nigeria from the Yaba College of Technology in estate management. It was not a degree of the heart, it was simply a degree of the head, because I did what I had to do back then. Everybody had to go to school. And then again, because I wasn't that fulfilled with that, I took a job as a journalist, which was what gave me fulfillment. And in 2004, I moved to England, and then I did a conversion course. So I changed my degree from estate management to English communication and literature. What else is there? Then I had my master's degree at University of Hertfordshire in England, and then I did my master's degree in public text and publication at Trent University, and I also got my PhD at Trent as well. Before then,
Okay.
you know me more than most.
Good to know.
I have been.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me though?
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, fine. I can hear you now. So the next question is, could you share with us the significant moment or turning point in your academic journey? What is that significant moment that shaped your career in the course of your academic journey?
Okay. On Facebook will remember that over time, even while I was doing estate management, people could tell my heart was not in it. I called it the degree of the head. My heart was somewhere else. I've always been art oriented. I've always loved reading. I've always loved literature. So as we were writing that final exam, it dawned on me that this is supposed to be my career. Do I really want to pursue a career in land selling? Me. And then I knew that if I really want to be fulfilled and happy in life, I must change course. And so it was at that point I need to do to thrive as a human. And so I spoke to myself. I knew it was time to change because of you. So that was for me the turning point. Really listening to my heart and asking myself, what do I want to do?
Okay. Yes, I can hear you. So what are some of the biggest challenges you face during your transition from student to scholar? And how did you overcome?
Sorry, I didn't catch the
What are
second
those
part. And
challenges
what?
that you faced? And how were you able to overcome them?
Okay. So let's
What
break
were
it down.
some of the biggest challenges you faced during your transition from student to scholar? And how did you
Good.
overcome them?
So let's break it down. Nigeria, as a student, I had my parents who were still sponsoring me. And so my biggest challenge was balance, finding the time to balance my life outside school and my life in school. So it created its own kind of issue. But in outside Nigeria, in the diaspora where I was studying, I found that one of the biggest challenge would be finance. I was fortunate that I came, most of my studies in the diaspora had been sponsored. So I was on a full scholarship, as it were, and I had grants that were supporting me. Shout out to all of my donors. But you also have to realize that I had a family still. And so making ends meet financially was a challenge on its own. Then there is the challenge of balancing being a parent, being a husband, being a father to my children, as well as giving due attention to my schoolwork. So those were really, really the struggles that I had, the challenges. And so to the next part of your question, which is how did I overcome them? Schedule, schedule, schedule. Always have a schedule. Have a diary. You know all those diary with time? Yes. Planning and preparation helps. Once I have my schedule and I stuck to it, it takes discipline. So you need a schedule and you need discipline to stay true to your schedule. When you have that, you are able to face those challenges. It's not every day. We are humans. It's not every day you will stick to the schedule 100%. But at least if you fail to stick to it 100%, you are still on track to meet some of your schedule so that you will not derail totally. So yes, it's been challenging financially and socially, but the rewards for me has been great.
Thank you so much. So how do you deal with the pressure and stress that come with academic responsibilities?
Self-care is important. It comes back to the schedule that I mentioned as well. One, when you have a schedule, you have a time and a place for everything. So for everything, you have an appointed time for it that you do. And in your schedule, at least 30 minutes to 1 hour of your day must be dedicated to self-care. It's not easy, I know, but for me, it sometimes means that at my lunch hour, my lunch is divided between 15 minutes of having my lunch, either light or heavy, depending on the day, and ensuring that I walk. So I have my dedicated time for gym that I always miss, but my self-care is a moment of reflection of about half an hour walking around my campus. The university where I teach is rather big to some extent, and so you can also have walkways, path where you can walk, and then I self-reflect, I think, I rearrange, I clear my mind, and I focus on the next challenges ahead. So again, just to answer your question in a nutshell, self-care is very important if you have to be able to balance things out. It's very important.
Sure, you did. So, our viewers, if you are just joining us, thanks for joining another session of My Story Life. And the topic we are discussing this evening is from student to scholar. If you are getting value for your time, Please feel free to drop your comments in the comment section below. Our guest for tonight is Professor Eyitayo Gad Aloh. And the next question that is going to Professor is, how important is mental health for students and scholars? And what steps can one take to maintain good mental health?
In a nutshell, the straight answer to that is very, very important. So the mental health to anyone, in adult or young one, it's like the engine of a car. Yes, your heart keeps you alive, but your mental health keeps you functional. Because when you do not have good mental health, you basically are falling apart and you can't hold it together, and you're not a functional human. So to scholars and to students, I think it's basically the same, because when you take care of your mental health by being balanced, so you really have to go back to what I was talking about, balance. You just have to be balanced. When you are balanced in your life and you allocate things, you give priority, you set targets and priorities, then you will be able to maintain your mental health. You'll be able to recognize what is it that is giving me pressure at this point, then walk away from it immediately. Okay? But the moment where you want to say yes to everything, yes, you want to do work, yes, you want to be part of the social life, yes, you want to be part of everything that comes your way, then you stretch yourself thin. You'll not be able to give attention to everything. And as time goes on, it begins to affect you mentally. Because as humans, we are a being of accomplishment. We get joy from accomplishing things. And so because we have spread ourselves thin and we don't get joy and value, like you mentioned earlier, we become sad. And then the best way I can put it is what Yoruba call a lowering of the heart. Your heart becomes lowered. There are levels and targets where you want to raise your heart to, but because you're not hitting those targets, your heart is coming down. And that's where depression sets in. That's where sadness sets in. And that's where you lose complete focus, and then your mental health suffers. So mental health is very important. And to take care of it, set targets, have a schedule, be balanced, and know your limits. Don't take on too many cause at the same time. When you hit your limit, be honest with yourself. Know when to tell yourself, I can't do this. And be honest with others too. Know when to tell people that, look, I'm sorry, but I can't do it. Okay? Yes, we always feel that when we say no to people, they make us look bad. But post-COVID, I think the pandemic actually showed all of us that we all need to take care of our mental health. And so scholars, students, everyone really, we need to maintain a balanced lifestyle so that we can take care and maintain a good mental health capacity.
Okay, so that takes us to unity and community. How can fostering a sense of unity and community within academic environment benefit students and scholars?
No man is an island, okay? Let's just take it from there. So community is important. And in academia, you have discipline and you have fields. So your discipline could simply be your department. I teach in the Department of English Literature as well as Canadian Studies, right? So that's my department. But I also have a field, my area of interest that I love to write about. And for me, it's about humor, communication, and literature. So let's just say I love to laugh. And it is important that you find those who share your passion, because to survive in academia, when you have people who share your passion, you'll be able to attend conferences together. I mean, this year I participated in the International Society of Humor Scholars, ISHS. I am a member of that organization. And so together we have annual conferences where like minds come together and discuss. Within my department, I think I operate within a very friendly department, from the chair of the program down to the secretary, where everybody, I think I can call everybody my friend, whereby they make themselves available. But remember, to have a friend, you need to be a friend. So I also make myself available to my colleagues that if they need to bounce ideas around me, the sky is big enough for all of us. So we bounce ideas around. We look at what areas somebody is working on, and we all contribute, give input to their research. Only last week, my head of the department, she only saw an article elsewhere. The article that I had missed it. It didn't come to my. I said, "Oh, Tayo, have you seen this?" I'm like, "No, I haven't. Thank you very much." So that is. You have those who share that passion with you. You are able to grow together, and you are able to accomplish a whole lot more together. So community is very important. In fact, it is the lifeblood of any scholar. If you really want to succeed as a scholar, find an organization, find an association, find a community of like minds who share your passion, and you will all be able to grow together.
Fantastic. What role do mentorship and collaboration play in the journey from student to scholar?
A very important role, because we may not realize it. Humans are creatures of habit. That's why the best role model for a child is the parents. They watch their parents. Important. When you have a solid a mentor guides you. A mentor believes in you. A mentor watch you make your mistake and correct you. There's nothing wrong in mistakes. But the thing is, are people laughing at you and making mockery of the mistake you've made? Or are they correcting you so that you never make that mistake again? It's like we say about failure. What's failure? First attempt in learning. There's nothing wrong in failing. But who will help you learn? The L, it's a mentor. When you have a good mentor who guides you. I give you a personal experience. When I wanted to go for my graduate studies program and I was looking for an area of expertise, I just Googled universities with the course. But not only did I Google universities with course, I looked into the department. I said, what professors are interested in this area? And then I found this professor. I wrote to him, and then he became my mentor. For 1 year before I joined the university, he was a mentor who was looking at my work, pointing out my errors, guiding me in how to make them better. And progressively, we got to a point where he now said, all right, I think you are ready to go for that. Put in your application for the grad program. And I did. And the rest, as they say, is history, to the point where he launched his book last year. And guess who he called to come and be the reviewer? Me. And so we could go on and on talking about these things, but mentorship is important because you really need those who are as well pathfinders. You need pathfinders. They as bad as they did.
All right. The next question is your advice for students. How can students stay focused, motivated, and resilient throughout the academic journey?
The first and foremost way to do that is to choose a course that you are passionate about. All right. Unfortunately, the mistake we make at times is that we are not. You remember in the beginning, I was talking about the course of the heart and the course of the head, right? That when my first degree in estate management was a course of the head. It wasn't in my heart. I was listening to other voices around me. And so that, I think, wasted, well, maybe not waste, no knowledge is lost. But at least it took me off course for about 5 years. So the first advice I would have for a scholar to be able to stay focused, follow your heart.
So what advice would you give? Okay. All right. What advice would you give to current students aspiring to become scholar?
The sky is big enough for all of us. So please face your studies and can't become a scholar. I will be there welcoming anybody who wants to become a scholar or an academic in the future. But you just have to have passion. Okay? I know I may sound like a broken record saying the same thing over and over again. But if you are not passionate about something, if you don't care it about enough deep in your heart, then your success rate is almost non-existent. Because when people are passionate about something, they pursue it with their power. And so my advice to anyone, face your dreams, face your focus, and indeed, never listen to voices that tell you you cannot, because you can.
In what ways have you grown personally and professionally since transitioning from student to scholar?
Okay, let me answer that question in another way. I am still growing because knowledge never ends. But in other areas, I think I have just learned to realize that nobody knows it all. In the past, when I was growing up, we used to see professors as these, we call them the learned guys. They know everything. But the truth about it is they are only learned in their own field, in their own area. There is nobody who is the total connoisseur of knowledge. And that's why we need to keep on learning. So personally, to answer your question, I don't see myself as having gained any special knowledge because I am still growing. But in other areas, I have also come to learn my own limitations. You know, that advice I'm giving to people, I've also come to know it all. When students ask me questions, I have come to be able to say I don't know without being ashamed because there are things I don't know. And so I would guide them or tell people, I would rather say nothing than misadvise you. So please, either give me time to go research this or I don't know.
So how do you continue to learn and develop in your field?
Oh, well, stay focused, stay hungry, always be hungry. I read a lot. I read everything and anything. In fact, I am sitting here because of my passion for reading. So don't think you have the ultimate knowledge. We read a lot, watch valuable TV programs. Learning can occur by you watching TV, listen to podcasts. So there are so many resources of knowledge available out there. Avail yourself and know the right kind of knowledge, because sometimes all knowledges are not good. There are misinformation and disinformation. But you just, when you are hungry enough, you'll be able to decipher which is which. So it is important that you never think you know it all, friends. Always, always try to look for knowledge. Continue to acquire knowledge. You don't know it all. Read far, listen wide, listen to others too, you know. Listen to advice, listen to those who know. Attend conferences, go to where you think you can find value for your time.
Thank you. So our viewers in the house, if you are just joining us, we're happy to have you on board this evening. This is another story, another episode of My Story Life. And the topic for discussion this evening is From Student to Scholar. My guest on the show tonight is Professor Eyitayo Gad Aloh. And if you are having value for this discussion, please feel free to share this video. You can also drop your comments or your questions in the comment section below. Remember that you care, we care, and you matter a lot to us. So the next question is, we want to examine the role of universities now. What can universities and academic institutions do to better support student transition to scholars, particularly in terms of mental health and unity?
Universities can do a lot. In fact, let me rephrase. Universities are doing a lot. I come back to the pandemic. What the pandemic revealed to the whole world is the fact that the world is not okay. People are not okay. Everyone seems to be facing challenges that were there already, and the pandemic only made bigger, wider. And so universities now are having student centers run by both the students and professionals that are catering to things such as academic skills, helping students to write their essay, helping students to share resources, helping students to have a smooth conversation and relationship with their professors. That is in existence now. And let me speak from Trent University's perspective. We have academic skills that does all of that. We have a student center that caters to that. And universities too are now going on fundraising drives whereby they are raising money, they are putting as seed funds to help students who may have financial difficulty. Because sometimes the biggest mental health stress that students have is tuition fee. How do I pay? Simple as it is. For some people, they may be able to pay in the beginning, and over time, they wouldn't be able to pay anymore. So the universities are setting up fundraising drives and are putting this money aside to be able to help students. And no student is also left behind. So at Trent University, for instance, we have an international department. There's a department called Trent Global that caters to the needs of international students, because we also know international students, they've got some kind of peculiar and specific needs that they cater for. And so these are some of the ways. And it's not just Trent. Trent is a representation of most of the universities in Canada. These are some of the ways that universities are helping students to cope. And I just want to put this out there, that there are so many universities that are doing this, and a whole lot more can still be done. Because there are those universities that still see students as cash cows. No, we really, really need to see these students as the most valuable resources a university can have. Future minds, future heads that will change the world with the ideas that they are getting now at the university.
Thank you so much. And we are happy to know the fact that Trent University is bringing in that initiative to support the students financially, which is one of the ways they can promote effective mental health among the students. We have now come to this topic, research and impact. Can you discuss any of your research that focuses on mental health, community building, or related topics with our viewers?
Okay, so all of my research focuses on community building, because I come from an oral background. So even in my master's thesis, I discussed orality, something as simple as storytelling that we grew up with when we were growing. I know it's an art that is dying, and how these oral traditions are finding their way into literature. And so in terms of community building, I would say that is what most of my research is about: building community, that communal element that comes from my oral tradition. And it's what my master's thesis, which is soon to be published as a book, was looking at orality as a social engineering process, how all these stories, strong songs and proverbs can be used to shape a society for cohesion. My other my other area of research that focuses on mental health is humor. And you know that humor has got an invaluable role to play in the mental health. In fact, people say laughter is a medicine. So laughter becomes that medicine that helps us to bring down any pressure we may have on our mental health. And it's something that I've devoted myself to. It's something I am still doing. And I am sure that from the time my book will come out, at least a specific area of the society and a subset of people within the society will be able to find how humor and laughter can help them to be better individuals, to cope with their mental health, and indeed to make invaluable contribution to the society that they live in.
That's cool. So how can technology such as artificial intelligence benefit students in recent years?
It can benefit. If I'm totally honest, I know there are benefits to AI, but it's benefit that comes with a lot of challenges. Students need to be careful that from being a beneficial tool, it does not now lead to plagiarism. One of the areas I am struggling with right now as an instructor and an academic is academic integrity, because AI is just making it easier for people to cheat and to go undetected. I am still able to detect some, but I have to be honest, I think I may have missed some too. There are those things that look so, you know the student, and you see what they produce and you're going, nah, this is not this person, but you can't prove it. So there, there are those challenges. But to your question, I think AI is good. AI can make research easier. At least it makes access to information faster. So you don't rely on AI to write your essay. You rely on AI as the springboard to your research to get the materials you need quicker, easier, and faster. And then you would now be able to, with your own brain, write out that essay, not rely on AI to do the research and write for you. Because at the end of the day, I say this to my students, and I'm going to share it freely here. You must, on the day of your graduation, hold up your certificate. Look at it. Look at the name on it, your name on your certificate, and say, I did that. If you cannot do that honestly, there's no point. If you use AI to write, you will not be able to do that honestly. So it is important that students make use of AI as much as possible for research, for getting things easier, but also avoid the dangers that come with over-reliance on AI in academia.
That is key. So what do you think the future holds for students aspiring to enter the labor market with the advent of artificial intelligence?
I tell people this again, that this is just moral
What do you
panic.
think? Okay, fine. Okay.
I heard you. I'm just saying it's moral panic. And this is why I say that. The fear of machine taking has been in existence for as long as I can remember. Because when we were in school in the 90s, it was Y2K. Oh, the computer will crash or take over our jobs. We will lose our job, blah, blah, blah. January 1, 2000 came, nothing happened. We're still here. So no matter how much advanced AI and machines are, they are still machines that will need human input. So any workplace will still need humans. So that's what I want scholars to know. I want students to know. Any workplace will still need humans to work there. Machines cannot take over. Okay? Machines need humans to at least make the input. Excuse me. Make the input. So there is no challenge there. There will be work. It may be a bit harder. It may mean we reorganize how we think, we rearrange how we work, but there will always be work. So to be able to face that challenge, I just ask people to do this. Upgrade yourself. Retrain yourself. Be aware of there are so many resources out there that are even free on the internet. Start training yourself now so that when things change, when the world moves, you are ready for that change. But in terms of the labor market at job force, the worst case scenario is it may not add any job, but there will always be job. Because those who are on the job now, some of them will soon retire, right? So as students, they will need people to fill them. So the education you are having now will put you in line to be able to replace those ones, because there will always be jobs in the market.
Thank you so much. So, in other words, you are encouraging our viewers to reinvent themselves, which is key. Don't be stagnant. Ensure you add value to any existing knowledge that you have for you to forge ahead. Fine. So, we are getting to the conclusion of this interview. The next question is, looking back, is there anything you would have done differently?
You know, my people say what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Every experience I've had have contributed to making me who I am today, right? And so I may be tempted to say I'll change nothing, right? Because people say experience will do two things for you. Either you learn from it and then you don't make the mistake again, or you don't learn from it and then you will get into trouble, and then the trouble will eventually teach you not to make the mistake again. Either ways, everything works out well. So, but if I'm totally honest, the point where is, remember when I would have to go back to the beginning. If the way my trajectory has done, maybe I wouldn't have gone doing my first degree. But again, it's no knowledge is lost. It contributed in its own way. But I wish I had listened to my heart earlier and then just follow my passion right from the beginning. I'm sure I would have accomplished most of the things I accomplished later much earlier if that had been the case. But still, I'm just one grateful person that I thank my God Jehovah every time that he has at least made things work out the way they have.
If you weren't a professor, what career would you pursue?
That's easy. Journalism. And by that I mean writing. So I remember when I was in my final year in school, I was asked that question. I said I would either end up in the newsroom or in the classroom. And then I used to joke with my colleagues in the media back then that I have ended up in the newsroom very early. And so that means I can still end up in the classroom. And so if I was not a professor, that's easy. I would have really been a print journalist. Yeah, I would have been a journalist. I still consider myself a journalist. I'm still on a number of platforms with my colleagues from the media back in the day. And we still have a good load of fun.
That's fantastic. What has been the most rewarding aspect of your career so far?
Oh, the most rewarding career, I'm a people person. So the most rewarding element of my career is really my students. Every graduation day, watching people who have passed through me walk past that aisle, get their certificate, and then come hug me. If they are watching, thank you, my students. I love those moments, because if I was such a bad teacher, if I was such a bad prof to you, you wouldn't want to do that. But the smile, the passion, the way they come to me shows they appreciate the little effort I put into molding their lives. Because that's what this job is all about. I don't even focus on grades that much. I focus on the individuals and the potential that lie within them. And for me, that is my joy. That's why I do what I do. This ability to be able to mold minds who I know will go on to do amazing things in the future. So that's why every graduation day seems to be that moment for me, when I feel accomplished, seeing my students get their degree and go forth to change the world.
That's fantastic. That feeling, money cannot buy.
No, money can't buy it, my friend.
Yeah. Once again, our viewers, feel free to ask your questions or drop them in the comment section. And would also appreciate to know where you are watching from. Some of the highlights of our discussion with Professor Aloh this evening is the fact that if you want to succeed as a scholar, it is important for you to find an organization that share your passion. It is key. You also need a mentor. You need somebody that will look out for you. You need somebody that will see your mistakes and will guide you through those mistakes. So the last question this evening, do you have a closing words for both parents and students watching my story live?
Okay. So let me sing a song that we used to sing in those days. Parents, listen to your children. We are the leaders of tomorrow. Try and pay our school fees and give us sound education. But So jokes aside, I think to all the parents out there, thank you very much. You're doing a great deal. In this economy, in any economy, it is not easy training children and sending them to school. And so on behalf of all the children, I say thank you for that. The best legacy you can leave for your children is that education. And so we are very grateful, and we ask that please do not stop. Whatever it takes, whatever sacrifices it makes, be rest assured that these kids will come back to repay tenfold. The sacrifice will be worth it at the end of the day, because the education they're getting right now is the foundation. You know, they're having the 3 R's: reading, writing, and arithmetic. Having those foundation in life will set them up for what is good in the future. So the advice to parents is please endure, persevere, and continue to do what you can for your children. To the children, please, parents are doing a whole lot and sacrificing a great deal for your education. Take it serious, right? Don't think, well, the parents will always be there. They are making enough sacrifice as it were. So focus on your studies, focus on your education, and at the end of the day, you know, there is always the light at the end of every tunnel. You're going to come out of the other side in a wonderful blaze of light that is success. So please face your works, face your studies, and make your parents proud.
Thank you so much, Prof. It's my pleasure to have you on the show this evening. And I know you have a very busy schedule, but for you to buy out time and be on this show is something we really appreciate. We are also aware of the fact that we are aware that one of your son and your daughter also graduated during the week. We are extending our congratulations to them and best wishes on their graduation. And we wish them success in their future endeavors. So thank you so much for coming on board, and have a wonderful evening. To our viewers, we appreciate you. We love you. We know that you are also busy, but for creating time to listen to this episode of My Story Life, we are happy to have you on board. And like we usually say, if you have any comments or any question, please feel free to use the comment section below. We also encourage our viewers to please share this if you have value for it. And remember, one of the take home from today's discussion: if you want to succeed as a scholar, you need a mentor. You also need to find an organization that share your passion. So till next week that we'll meet again, have a fabulous evening and stay blessed. Thank you, Prof, for coming on board.
Just want to say, one of my friends, another professor at Florida, is saying hi.
Thank you.
All right.